This is a PSA from Self-Serving Skillet to wear sunscreen. Look at this unflattering tan mark. I was outside for 2 hours in 70-degree weather. It was breezy, it was beautiful. Sunscreen was the farthest thing from my mind. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to learn how to make English muffins. I'm gonna put 1/3 cup of whole milk on medium heat. I'm gonna bring it up just to a bubble. And then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of white sugar. And then to 1/3 cup of warm water around 110 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to add about 1/8 of an ounce of yeast. A packet of yeast is about double this. So if you only have a packet of yeast, you could use half of it, or if you don't want to store half of a pack of yeast, use the whole thing. It's not going to hurt anything. This is about 2 cups or 240 grams of all-purpose flour. To this, I'm going to add just shy of an ounce. This is about 25 grams of a cultured butter. You can also use butter. That's really the only option. Don't let me catch you using margarine. But you can also buy it in a store. I just have insane food projects that I love to work on. Now, you can definitely melt this butter and add this sort of in with your liquid ingredients. I really like to sort of pulverize it into my flour, really create that colloid of butter and flour, sort of a larger version of like a beurre. So I guess if you want to go the easy route, there's nothing wrong with melting the butter, adding it at the end. But I think that much like a pie crust, which you also do this with a pie crust, much like a pie crust, you want this to be slightly inconsistent. It's all about the texture, it's all about the flakiness. With an English muffin, what are the 2 words that you associate most with an English muffin? Nooks and crannies. And that speaks to inconsistency. This is a lot like tortilla making. You just have to get that flour to sort of the consistency of sand. And it's really difficult to show you the texture here. You kind of have to feel it, because right now it just looks like flour, but it is infused with the butter. Milk is just bubbling, so I'm going to take that off, add my sugar, let that cool just a little bit. I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, my warm milk. We've all done that, right? We've all thought, hey, this is gonna work. I have this utensil out, why dirty another one? Well, because it works, and I'm guilty of it too. And once that's incorporated, and once that I see that my yeast is alive and active, I'll add that liquid too. Once that sort of all comes together, I'm going to knead it around in the bowl, pick up all these sort of straggling bits, just fold and press and fold and press. So I had to add a little sprinkling of flour just to get it to come together to a kneadable point. And I've probably been kneading for about 3 minutes by now, and the dough feels really good. And it's not quite there yet, but I'll show you what needs to happen for it to be good. It's got to look smooth and feel smooth. So when you think you have that, sort of tuck the undersides in underneath the dough ball. Get it as taut as you can on top and press it. And it should bounce back. We're going to put this dough ball into a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, let it rise for about an hour in some sort of a warm place. The AC is on in my apartment right now, so I'm going to take it outside. Maybe butter would be a little bit of a better choice since I already have butter in that dough, but this is also a little bit less work. Alright, see you in an hour. I still don't have a rolling pin, but you know what works just as well as a big old bottle of wine. I'm going to roll this out until it's about ½ an inch thick, just a little more than a centimeter. Before I cut this out, I'm going to sprinkle this parchment paper with masa harina, which is a very finely ground cornmeal. Something else that's also used a lot is semolina flour. You just want it to be very fine so it doesn't stick to the pan. There we go, masa harina. It's for corn tortillas or tamales. If you have neither of those, regular cornmeal works fine. One of the benefits of doing this, of making it myself, number one, it's going to taste way better, but number two, I can make them any size that I want. This ring mold is kind of the typical size of these English muffins, so I'm going to make a couple of those, but I'm also going to take this bowl, which is about 2 cups or 500 roughly milliliter glass Tupperware bowl, because I want to make 1 or 2 larger English muffins, because I'm going to turn that into a breakfast sandwich. Just sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. And I'm gonna leave that again until doubled in size. This should only take about ½ an hour, but don't be afraid to let it go more than that. So I want a medium heat in a heavy skillet, something that's gonna hold on to a lot of heat here. Get as much of that flour as I can between my spatula. Just slow release. We're gonna put this over medium heat for 5 minutes or so. We're really gonna let the muffins tell us when they're ready. And I've got a little bit of smoke coming off, so I'm gonna check underneath, check on one. This is holding together nicely, so I think it's gonna be fine, and flip. And that was about 6 minutes on a medium heat. Your mileage may vary. This took 6. They're already a little bit cooked, so I'll check them at 4. Now to really get the nooks and crannies, we need to separate it with a fork. That was beautiful. It needs salt though. All the hallmarks of just a wonderful English muffin. Has that nice chewy outside, that wonderful sort of textured inside. That butter is sort of finding its way down into those nooks and crannies. That's really good. But I have a better idea. That, I can't wait to put that into my face. Look at that. Since this is ultimately a breakfast sandwich, I'm going to pair this with a little cold press. A little cold press coffee. This is cold press is from an Indian Malabar. Very bassy, very earthy. Let's check this out. And of course you can put all of these elements on a burger with a regular bun. The combination of the egg and the English muffin just makes it a little bit more breakfasty. Bacon doesn't hurt either. That tapatio adds a little bit of heat and a little bit of acid to sort of cut through that fatty egg yolk. I think this is just a winner, but it's ultimately just a really good way to use those English muffins that we just made. Next week, we're going to add on to this idea of making your own English muffins. You can probably see where this is going, but we're going to learn how to poach some eggs. If you want to see how I made that homemade cultured butter, I'm going to put that video right up here. And if you want to know how I made this cold press, that one right there.